Okay, these videos that we're about to do are going to go over the reproductive system. First the female and then the male reproductive system. This model is a little clumpy, so it's going to be kind of hard to show you guys everything. So I apologize again if it moves around a little bit, but we'll try to stabilize it as much as possible. There we go. Starting off in the female reproductive system, gametes are made in organs known as ovaries. So we see an ovary here, and then back here we can see a little bit of an ovary. The ovaries are anchored to the uterus by a structure known as the ovarian ligament. So you can see here there are these two tube-like structures. This one's actually a ligament called the ovarian ligament, and it's anchoring the ovary to the uterus. This here is the uterine tube, which some of you may know as the fallopian tube. The uterine tube has 4 different parts to it. This part is called the infundibulum, and it contains these little finger-like projections known as fimbriae that help the egg move into the uterine tube. From here, this part is known as the ampulla. It's the enlarged region. This thin part here is known as the isthmus, and then this part entering the uterus is known as the uterine tube. You can see these on the other side of the model. It's just a little bit difficult with the model and the camera. The other thing I wanted to point out is this ovarian ligament here is attached to a larger ligament known as the broad ligament. So it looks like, I don't know if you can see it, the uterus has a bat wing to it, and that is known as the broad ligament. Now, spending a little bit more time on the uterine tubes, their mucosa is lined with the ciliated simple columnar to help move egg down the uterine tubes. Your eggs are going to crowd surf essentially to the uterus. The muscularis layer is a typical circular and longitudinal organization to it, so an inner circular and an outer longitudinal, and they do promote some peristalsis. And my uterine tubes are intraperitoneal, so their most outer layer is serosa. Okay, next we're going to move to the uterus. So I've just removed half of it here. The uterus has a few different regions to it. This rounded region, like our stomach, is called the fundus. Then we have the body. This thin region here is the isthmus, and then this part down here that protrudes into the vagina is the cervix. The uterus also has 3 layers to it. So if I said ID region, I would want one of those. If I said ID layer, out here, I'd want the the perimetrium, which is made up of serosa. This middle part is the myometrium. It's a smooth muscle, so it's involuntary when it contracts. And then the inside lining is an endometrium made up of a simple columnar epithelium. It's a little bit more complicated than that because some of it gets left off every month. But right now, until we get to lecture, we'll just leave it at that. All right. The uterus's job is to either support the embryo or menstruate, and either one will end up coming through the vagina. So this is our vagina here. Its mucosa is lined with a non-keratinized stratified squamous. It has a traditional muscularis layer of inner circular and outer longitudinal, and then it is retroperitoneal. As you can see, it doesn't even come into contact with the peritoneum up here, so its most outer layer would be adventitia. Now, the external genitalia of the female is known as the vulva. So all of this down here is known as the vulva. A lot of people think it's just called the vagina, but as you saw, the vagina is just this tube right here. This would be the rectum, and then this would be the bladder to help orient you. In front of the pubic symphysis, we have this area called the mons pubis. This is where pubic hair typically grows. Looking at the vulva, we have 2 skin folds. This outer one is called the labia majora, and it's covered in pubic hair and has normal glands that you would find in hair. These deeper ones are known as the labia minora. So you can see one here, and you can see one here. These are void of hair. Deep in the labia minora, we have a structure here called the greater vestibular gland, which is an erectile tissue of the labia minora, and then the bulb of vestibule here, which secretes a mucus to lubricate the vagina. This structure here is entirely known as the clitoris, but the very end of it is known as the glands of the clitoris. You can also see the glands of the clitoris here on the other half of the body. And then this little covering of the clitoris created by the labia minora is known as the prepuce or prepuce. It's foreskin for the clitoris, which is similar to what we see in males.